I'd like to begin by stressing something which is there in the beginning of the Mahabharata, that the problem we have faced for many centuries is that we have been told all our books, like the Puranas, the Mahabharata, the Ramayana, are mythologies, not historical. And we have, with the help of a lot of scholars, finally proved at a conference here in IGNCA called Mahabharat Manthan with historians that it is history. So when I'm speaking of Draupadi today, when I'm speaking of Devi Draupadi or Draupadi Amman that she is known in South India, I'm speaking of a historical character. And I'm going to highlight certain points, first on how the Vedic people defined women empowerment and how Draupadi carries forward that empowerment. And today what we imagine Draupadi to be is based on misperceptions, and that is why, unfortunately, there is no temple to Draupadi in her birthplace Kampilya and in a place of rule Indraprastha. And I'm sure everybody's mind and conscience will be shaken today, and they will realize the need to get together for a mohim. I'm using the word deliberately, for our mission to get Draupadi her due status, because what happened in Hyderabad has traveled from North India. South India had a reverence for Draupadi. We never heard such incidents. And today, if we do not restate the character of Draupadi to a real, true status, and unfortunately, we will keep facing. And so the crux is the culture of women gender parity, the culture, that Vedic culture that gives women an equality of status and respect has to be restored, and Draupadi is the leading light for that. Our Vedic knowledge are the threads that string together the pearls of wisdom that give us the eternal unifying Sanskriti we call Sanatan Sanskriti. One of the most significantly places linked to Vedic times is Kampilya, the Vedic city. It was at one time a Janpada, later became famous as the capital of Panchal kingdom, and it is credited with having given us great scholars who contributed to writing the formats of Vedas also, I'm told, as per information I have from the books. And of course, we know about Ayurveda, we know about the Upanishads that come from the Panchalas area, which is the Kampilya area. The land has also given us women of learning and divine stature, their life reflecting the values of empowerment. Among many examples of such, it stands out Devi Draupadi as the tallest. I want to take you through some aspects of her life that show and how it is relevant in her contribution as an exemplar of Vedic philosophy and how it is relevant today. Some Vedic concepts about women. So Atharva says, ब्रह्मचार्य सूत के इस मंत्र में कन्याओं के लिए भी ब्रह्मचार्य और विद्या ग्रहण करने के बाद ही विवाह करने के लिए कहा गया है. महत्व यह सूक्त लड़कों के समान ही कन्याओं को भी शिक्षा के लिए महत्व देता है. कन्याएं ब्रह्मचार्य के सेवन से पूर्ण विदुषी और युवती होकर ही विवाह करें. ऋग्वेदा में पुत्रों की ही भांति पुत्रों को भी अपने पिता की संपत्ति में बराबर का हक है. Another यजुर्वेद मंत्र से स्त्रियों की भी सेना हो, स्त्रियों को युद्ध में भाग लेने के लिए प्रोत्साहित करें. If you remember, if all of us know our Ramayana and Mahabharata, Kaikeyi was the Sarthi of Dashrath before she got married to him. And all these women, they knew Shastras, the warfare Shastras, use. And so It is so much there in our society, in our Vedic literature. Why we have failed to take it forward is something that now today women have to fight to be in the army. एक और अथर्ववेद के युग में कहा गया है, सभा और समिति में जाकर स्त्रियां भाग लें और अपने विचार प्रकट करें. So remember Draupadi in the Sabha? स्त्री और पुरुष दोनों को शासक चुने जाने का समान अधिकार है. माता पिता अपनी कन्या को पति के घर जाने के समय बुद्धिमत्ता और विद्या बल बनाने का उपहार दें. Another अथर्ववेद विषय, हे वधू, तुम ऐश्वर्य की नौका पर चढ़ो और अपने पति को जो कि तुमने स्वयं चुना है उसे संसार सागर के पार पहुंचाओ. Only an educated woman can help her husband move forward in life. हे पत्नी, मैं ज्ञानवान हूं तो तुम भी ज्ञानवती हो. मैं सामवेद हूं तो तुम ऋग्वेद. ये हमारा शास्त्र हमें पढ़ाता है. We have been deprived of our knowledge and so we are facing all these problems. And of course, the most famous that people say कि जहाँ wherever women are respected, God resides. The God resides in places where women are worshipped. Women are worthy of worship. They are the fate of the household, the lamp of the of enlightenment, and all household. They bring solace to the family and an integral part of the dharmic life. Even heaven is under the control of women. The gods reside in those households where women are worshipped, and in households where women are slighted, all efforts for improving will fail. The home has verily its foundation in the wife. The Rig Veda says these things. Of course, I think आप लोग सब बहुत ज्ञानी हैं, आप ये सब तो जानते ही होंगे. But I just thought कि let me just repeat it in English also. O bride, may the knowledge of the Vedas be in front of you and behind you, in your center and in your ends. May you conduct your life after attaining the knowledge of the Vedas. May you be benevolent, the harbinger of good fortune and health, and live in great dignity, and indeed be illuminated in your husband's home. See, this is how our ancient texts treated women, and that is why it is not surprising that we have Lopa, Mudra, we have Gargi, and of course Maitri. I mean, you name them. The wife should do the Agnihotra. Even puja आजकल कहते हैं ना कि नहीं, when a woman is not told कि भाई नहीं तुम नहीं कर सकती, खाली आदमी ही कर सकते हैं. I remember as a child my father told me गायत्री मंत्र करो, and one pandit told him अरे लड़कियों को गायत्री मंत्र नहीं करते. My father said why not? And I was taught the गायत्री मंत्र when I was very small. The wife should do the Agnihotra, Sandhya Vandana, and other daily religious rituals. If for some reason her husband is not present, the woman alone has the right, full rights to do the yajna. So these are some of the examples. Of course, these are names. So we have Ghosha, we have Lopamudra, we have Maitri, we have Gargi, we have so many of them. We have, of course, Ahilya and Sita. Kampilya Vasinim, Kampilya Nagare, his Surabha Surapa Striya Bhavante. The commentator Mahidhar has explained the ladies of Kampil were learned and beautiful, and another person, Manmat, also has agreed to this, and this is a very often quoted thing, that the women of Kampil were so beautiful and so learned because it was a center of Vedic learning. Very few people know there was a university there at one time, much before Takshila. So we come to Draupadi and how she is exemplifying women empowerment as per Indian Bharatiya Sanatan Sanskriti. Who was Draupadi? Very few people know that Draupadi is Parvati's avatar, and the Kampil Mahatma And as per quotations from the Mahabharata given in Kampil Mahatma, Shiva was having trouble with the Ganga, issue with Bhagirathi trying to get the Ganga down. And he could not give time to Parvati, and Parvati gets annoyed. They have a tiff. There's a very interesting sculpture in South India where Parvati रूठी हुई है शिव से. And then he curses her to go down. He says कि मैं गंगा नीचे धरती पे जा रही है, तुम भी धरती पे जाओ. And she says, no, नहीं, प्रभु आपके बिना मैं कैसे रह सकती हूँ. And then he says, okay, I will not, मैं तुम्हें त्याग नहीं कर रहा. I will meet you in another life. O Parvati, he says, and you will be born to the Chandravanshi king Drupada, and I will be in the heart of Arjun, and I will be coming in different forms to meet you. And that is the story also linked to her having taken 5 husbands. And हमारे यहाँ बहुत सारे चौमुखी शिवलिंग की प्रतिमाएं हैं और उनकी पूजा की जाती है. One itself in Kampil, and in whole area, the whole district is full of them. So Draupadi is Parvati itself. We have to know who is Draupadi. Birth of Draupadi. Because we have to first clear misperceptions about certain things which make her into a very unusual personality, which is unbelievable. They say she is Yajna Senini, and the common perception is that she emerged out of the Havan. Now the actual story of her birth is, Drupada lost his half kingdom to Dronacharya. We all know in the Mahabharata it is given. He wanted to regain the kingdom, and he said, I am going to get a Yodha son. And he wants to perform a yajna, because in those days we didn't have specialist gynecologist or doctors to tell them कि भाई लड़का होगा कि लड़की होगी या healthy होगा कि नहीं होगा. So he says, I am going to perform a yajna, and he goes to the best yajna that are called Yaja. And when he goes to Yaja and he says, I want a putra, a Yodha putra, and the Yaja is very happy. Yes, you will have a Yodha putra. Every king has a right for Yodha putra. He was so excited, the king, baton mein he told him, now I am going to kill Dronacharya. And that's when he vexed out. He says, I will not perform the yajna, because we do not do yajna for negative things. So what happens? For 1 year, Drupada does penance at the feet of this Mahaguru, and he does all the upay, and then finally he's connected to the Upayajna, that is his assistant, and they do a yajna in a proper way, and the queen is supposed to come and take the prasadam at the end of the Havana, but unfortunately she is a little late or whatever happens. Anyway, she is blessed with twins. Why we call her Yajna and why we say कि ये Agniputri hai, it's a symbolic way of saying she was born out of the great penance and sacrifice of a Yajna, and she acquires the quality of a Agniputri. She acquires the quality of a Yodha. So Yajna showing her as coming out or speaking is basically a symbolic way, जो आजकल हम लोग बहुत advertising में भी use करते हैं. But our people in olden times were better people in symbolizing than here, because everything in our text is very symbolically said. So it's a symbolic way of saying she had a proper worth. Nobody actually comes out of the Havan. We have to understand our text in practical terms to be able to relate it to our present generation. So she was born normally. She is called Yajna Senini Agniputri because she symbolizes the strength, the power of a Yajna. And as I said, like fire out of gold, she was pure as gold. And she was shining and sparkling as gold. Now we come to her Swayamvar. There are 2 things about her Swayamvar that are very, very wrongly portrayed. One is about her being insulting Karna, and second is uske 5 pati the bhai. Now academicians have been very, very good to her. They are analyzing, they are writing. But the main problem with our society is that it is the academician's duty also to go to the society and tell them the truth. Tell them as it is relevant. So she did not insult Karna. The very essence of Swayamvar is she has the right to choose her husband of her own choice and of her own status. Okay. So when she says no to Karna, she is not aware that Karna is from a royal status. So why is she insulting? She's just refusing. She's using her right to refuse. There were so many kings she may have refused then. Secondly, 5 husbands, I have just told you that she had accepted 5 husbands because Krishna tells her, when she says nahi nahi, when Kunti gives that order, so she accepts the 5 husbands because of that. Later on, her alleged Cheerharan. Frank, द्रौपदी का चीरहरण नहीं हुआ था, उसको कोई साड़ी नहीं पहनाई गई थी. In those days, people never wore a sari. That you see saris being pulled. It was an upper and a lower and an angrakshak. Yes, she was pulled, her hair was pulled and her angrakshak was pulled. But she was never disrobed. So this is the biggest myth. Again, in a Mahabharata Manthan that was held here, Pradeep Bhattacharya's article clearly establishes. Now, another very, very important thing, this Cheerharan is supposed to be linked to her having said, Andhe ka beta Andha, and she laughed at Duryodhan. When a dignitary comes, it is the maids and the officials who take them around. So Duryodhan was being taken around by the maids, not by Draupadi. So who says Draupadi laughed? And when Bhishma hears that he fell in the virtual pool, he says, hey Dhritarashtraputra. It is Duryodhan who goes back to Hastinapur to his anger, his jealousy, and he tries to antagonize his father against these people, and he says, she laughed. So how can you say she is Draupadi? It could be any maid. So this is what leads her, and here she stands in the Sabha and says,
presumption that it was not that Draupadi, it might have been a maid.
There is no mention that Draupadi laughed. And this is, my thing is also been very well corroborated by the writer of Mahabharata, Shri Narendra Kohli ji also. So Draupadi was the victim of the Kurukshetra war and not the cause, which has been wrongly portrayed. She was a true Ardhangini. She walks into the Agyatwas, into the 12 years of Vanvas, etc. And she works as a hairdresser. To being a queen to another queen, what does she teach? An empowered, educated woman is not going to sit and crib and cry. She is going to stand by her husbands and even work. So she works, teaching us 2 simple lessons. No job is menial. And unless we are capable and unless we develop our qualities, we are not able to overcome adversity. And she does that. Finally, her friendship with Krishna is very, very critical because there's a lot of things being said about her. And we all know that he called her Sakha. A woman having Krishna, the most intellectually evolved person, as a Sakha, can you imagine her level of intellect? You cannot have friendship with people who are not on your same page, you know. So she is an embodiment of all those Vedic things that they have to be educated. They can speak their mind out in the Sakha. And he has already said, so I'm not repeating, that in the Sabha, she knew that there was no morality in the Hastinapur kingdom. So she raises legal questions. And then she takes out her hair and she says, कि जब तक मुझे न्याय नहीं मिलेगा, ये केस नहीं बनेंगे. So she uses her own strength to take up the fight against the society and challenges the kingdom itself. And that is why Krishna is on her side. And her dialogue with Satyabhama is, of course, very, very interesting because it reveals her knowledge. It reveals how she manages interpersonal skills, how she manages all the affairs of the state. Even the Pandavas take her as an advisor. They cannot ignore her advice. So there are all these qualities that our Vedic people said that women have to be educated, women have to be, fighters, women have to have a say in society, they have a say in their own life. So the very fact that Swayamvar shows how empowered women were. It is just that we have not been taught in the right way. The message is not percolated in the right way. The king could, and I'm sorry, in today's world, if I say in the Western concept of liberalism, if a man can have 5 wives, why can't a woman have 5 wives? Husbands, tell me. So, I mean, if you have to take the Western feminism into context, which I don't believe, I think Draupadi deserves her due respect, and she has to be understood in the right way. She has to be reinstated and bring gender parity. And as I started saying, that in South there are many Draupadi Amman temples. There's a Draupadi festival in Bangalore every year for 15 days. In near Andaman, there's a Union Island where they've all converted to Syrian Christians, yet they have a Draupadi Amman temple and they pray to Draupadi. So her real status, if we understand Draupadi as a person, as a real person, as a historical person, and clear the cobwebs of misunderstandings, we will be able to help make our society better. Thank you.